So I think that it will essentially die on the vine once it goes to an independent prosecutor. I don't think Fani Willis is going to go away quietly, though.
The odor of mendacity, that phrase, okay.
He handed me his business card. I'm unsure if I handed him my business card, but we exchanged information. He said, if you ever need any help, give me a call.
And he was taking her all over the world. I said, after that case, I was ready to have an affair with Nathan Wade.
Today, I came to party.
That was a shocking admission by Megyn Kelly. She's ready to welcome to Doug in Exile. I'm Doug TeNapel. This is where the Happy Patriots are as we celebrate the predicted downfall of Fani Willis. Now, we were about a year early, so I was wrong in how long I thought it would take. But at last, she's been removed from the case. We're going to give an explanation for it all.
Yeah, definitely. So the Court of Appeals has said that they agreed with us, that there was an appearance of impropriety, and it was enough that Fani Willis should not be on the case. So she and all of her deputies were disqualified. And so what that means practically is the case will be assigned to what's called PAC. It's the Prosecuting Attorneys Council. And they'll be the ones that will review it. And I've said from day one, if we had an independent prosecutor, someone who wasn't financially or politically interested in the outcome of this case, it would never see the light of the day. It's not a case that would ever be brought. I mean, there's, hardly probable cause. You could indict just about anything.
That's Ashley Merchant, who is the defense attorney for, is it Chesborough? One of the RICO people. Now, he held out and said, no, I'm going to fight this thing. I'm not going to settle. She was lucky to have him as a client. He was lucky to have her as a lawyer because he was not going to go along quietly into the night. And he's the one who first broke the relationship between Fani Willis and Nathan Wade. It's because it would show that she had an incentive for this case to go on because Nathan Wade would be paid as her lawyer, and then he would take the money, which he billed sometimes 24 hours a day for, and they would go on lavish trips.
So I think that it will essentially die on the vine once it goes to an independent prosecutor. I don't think Fani Willis is going to go away quietly, though. I've already got a notice of intent, just got it on email, where she plans on appealing to the Supreme Court.
The Georgia Supreme Court.
So the question will be whether or not they even want to touch it. It's a good opinion. So I don't think the Supreme Court is going to have any interest in dabbling in this, but we'll see.
Adam Abadi, I thought, did an excellent job pointing out how dishonest you were with the court on Monday. And I'm actually surprised that the hearing continued. But since it did, here I am.
Did you meet with Mr. Wade and talk to him about the motion that I filed to disqualify you?
On this first January motion?
Yes.
I don't know if you could say talked about. I probably had some choice words about some of the things that you said that were dishonest within this motion. But it seems today that a lawyer writes a lie and then it's printed for all of the world to see. When I met him, Judge Reeves introduced us. He handed me his business card. I'm unsure if I handed him my business card, but we exchanged information. He said, if you ever need any help, give me a call. And he walked to the parking lot.
So after that, you started dating shortly thereafter, correct?
A lie. That's one of your lies.
Okay.
She's claiming it's a lie that she dated Nathan Wade. That's her under oath. I mean, she's already done. Fani Willis is busted, but she lied and was so unprofessional in so many different ways. And Ashley Merchant, she just had to sit there. In a way, her job was easy. She's very good at what she does. But really all she had to do is get Fani Willis in a courtroom under oath and just start talking to her. And all this stuff was going to come out. And then Fani Willis was clinging to this case so hard because she didn't want it to go to another counsel or another person who would be neutral, who did not have a personal interest in this case.
Well, that's not how really the trial court saw it or the appellate court saw it. And, you tell me whether you think you're going to be getting an apology now from Fani Willis for publicly accusing you of being a liar.
I don't think I'll be holding my breath for that, and I don't know that I've ever been called a liar so many times. And, I just kept thinking, what is it that you think I'm lying about? Because just about everything that I've alleged has turned out to be true. And if something wasn't, it was it wasn't not true. We fought over the term cohabitate. We fought over the term whether or not you cohabitated. And that was one of her big things, saying, oh, I lied because they didn't live together. And I was using the Georgia definition of cohabitation that we have in the criminal code. If you spend the night together in someone's bed at their house, that's considered cohabitation under Georgia law. So, that was the big, oh, you're lying because we didn't live together. Well, you cohabitated. I think we were just playing with words at that point. But no, I certainly am not going to be holding my breath for an apology anytime soon.
She owes Trump an apology. She even probably owes Nathan Wade and the people of Georgia who spent tax dollars on this fraud case, multi-million dollars fraud case. She owes Jack Smith, Joe Biden, and Merrick Garland an apology for not being able to pull off their giant White House organized criminal scheme to interfere with an election.
Phil Holloway, you said it from the beginning as well, that this absolutely is untoward behavior and that you can't have, just so people are reminded of what the controversy was, you can't have the sitting DA with a financial incentive to make the case go on, not because of her own job, she has that no matter what, but because she's having an affair with the special prosecutor she brought in, who does get paid based on how long the case goes on. He's getting money from the county if it goes on longer. If it ends, he doesn't. And he was taking her all over the world. I said, after that case, I was ready to have an affair with Nathan Wade.
Anytime this situation were to come up, everyone would be able to recognize what they're doing. That is that Nathan Wade was getting lots of hours, making a ton of money, and then taking Fani Willis out. And of course, he's compromised. She can't say that she's a neutral party, a neutral district attorney on this thing. That's why we call her, as Real A-Dog would say, she corrupt.
This opinion is absolutely spectacular. I urge everybody to read it. I tweeted out a lot of it, but there's a lot there. And the odor of mendacity, that phrase, okay, which is, of course, odor of mendacity. Mendacity means like dishonesty and falseness, okay? And so this is the type of appearance of conflict of interest. Now, they didn't find an actual conflict, but they said this is the kind of appearance of impropriety, appearance of a conflict of interest that does warrant her removal from the case. And there is no other remedy that will suffice.
That's the great Phil Holloway. Why? What's the big deal? Because you have to avoid even the appearance of impropriety. How can she be seen as a neutral party judging cases, judging Trump, judging these 18 RICO co-defendants, and not a political hack just out to get Trump, right? Remember, she's supposed to be some kind of a public servant, open to both sides, but she obviously isn't. This is the weaponization of government and the politicization of government by just one party. Just the Democrats did this. Remember all the lies that were told about Trump and the Republicans and the 18 RICO code, all the co-defendants, what they've said about this thing. And remember, they are the one that did the mugshot of Trump. They started the weaponization of government. And Trump ended up, of course, jujitsuing everything. That's just him being talented. What if he wasn't that talented? He'd have gone down in flames if he was a normal mortal. Luckily, he's Mr. Entertainment.
I'd hoped that Fani Willis would do the right thing, but she dug in. She did the expected thing, knowing her, she dug in. But so, I knew that it had the potential to completely derail the case if we won at every step of the way. But I also knew that was going to be a really long haul. And I knew that it was going to be something where they dug in a lot and fought vehemently. You've seen how much they wanted to keep this case. But, one thing I want to point out is the more they dug in, the more you could see that they were biased, because these are government employees. If most of the time, if you say a judge is biased or you say a DA is biased, they say, okay, send it to someone else. That's immediately when you file a motion to recuse someone or disqualify, normally they're like, bye, because who wants more work when you're a government salaried employee? You usually don't want extra work. So normally the normal response would be, disqualify me, let someone else look at it. I feel so strongly about the facts of my case that if you had a neutral and detached prosecutor, they're going to come to the same conclusion. So I don't need to have a personal stake in this case. So when we saw her dig in and not do that, that said all we needed to know. That said, you definitely do have a personal stake in this case.
Okay, so now the case, she gone, because who's going to pick this thing up? Who's going to pick it up now? If the case was that strong, someone else could come in and go, oh, I'll take it. This will be juicy. But now they're going like, this is kryptonite. Don't touch it. It's got hepatitis. Fani Willis touched it. I'm Doug in Exile.